this is these kids are actually Form 1 kids at Valley Hill High School. Remember we talked about Valley Hill Primary School, which is a free primary school. This year we started Form 1.
Okay.
So we started a high school this year.
Oh, wonderful.
And our kids are learning, they're following a specific curriculum which empowers them with skills, particularly agricultural skills. So this is April holidays 2026. The kids have special projects that they are doing. So during the holidays, they're involved in income generating projects. This holiday they are dealing mainly in buckwheat production. We're producing 13 products of buckwheat. And I'm going to show you just now one of the products of buckwheat which we are producing. It's actually an anti-diabetic product which we mix with other herbals besides the buckwheat to produce special tea that is anti-diabetic. As you know, I'm particularly I'm a researcher myself in the area of diabetes mellitus. I work with two other professors, Professor Pamizai Zomba from Bendera University of Science Education and Dr. Stephen Nyoni, Chino University of Technology. We are a team of international researchers in the area of natural products, chemistry, particularly looking at anti-diabetic products. So I'm going to show you today one of the products that we are producing and marketing, which is helping a lot of people that are diabetic, that have diabetes mellitus type 2. Some buckwheat products which we're mixing with other anti-diabetic herbals to make a special tea that is helping them in that particular area. So these kids are actually producing the tea. So actually producing this product, they're planting this buckwheat, and then they're at a specific time where we measure the amount of antioxidant content, amount of rutin content, because buckwheat contains a special chemical called rutin, which is an important antioxidant. It also contains D-chiroinositol. D-chiroinositol actually mimics insulin. And therefore, this plant is a special plant in producing phytochemical compounds that are needed for human health. So these kids, so at a specific time, we uproot them and then process them by ensuring that those compounds do not degrade. That's why we're drying them in the shed, and then we're going to be processing that. So you can come and see. So these kids are involved in this production. So this is the dry herbal, and so God created plants that have specific medicinal properties. See, so this is going to be further processed into a special anti-diabetic tea. That people that have challenges of non-communicable diseases, who have challenges with lack of antioxidants, because antioxidants are critical elements that are needed in human diet to neutralize free radicals that are generated in the body. So this plant is an amazing plant that can provide those phytochemical compounds that have high antioxidant properties. Yes. So these are things that we do at this farm. Actually, we do five things. So we do Hass avocado production, buckwheat production, honey production, cassava production. And then the fifth thing that we do, we also produce boran cattle.
Okay.
So we produce boran cattle, and we're going to show you some of the projects that we are doing in pen fattening, where we fatten the cattle for sale to sustain these kids.
Okay.
So now I want to show you the processing of our cassava to produce tapioca or cassava flour.
Okay.
We have taken it to a point where you saw how we planting cassava, harvesting cassava. So after harvesting cassava, we peel off the tubers, and then we grind them to small particles. We dry, and then after drying, we can grind to produce tapioca or cassava flour. Besides cassava flour, we also produce cassava oats. So come on. So this is cassava. So after harvesting cassava, we put them in a small machine which chips into small particles for drying. Okay, and then we dry the cassava. When we dry, we can store that now. But we also chip them in such a manner that we can produce cassava oats. When we dry these ones, we'll produce cassava oats, which are very tasty and nice.
Okay.
Yes, and this is coming from cassava tubers. So we produce cassava oats. Then we can also grind this to a meal, and we mix with buckwheat to produce a blend of buckwheat meal and cassava or tapioca meal.
Okay.
And then we use that to cook sadza.
Oh.
Yes. And besides so buckwheat has no gluten, but it also doesn't have a binding agent. So when we mix with cassava will provide the binding agent. So you can now prepare buckwheat cassava bread, or you can actually now prepare buckwheat cassava sadza.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting.
So we're doing a lot of researches in producing highly nutritious sadza, which is a staple food, which does not involve maize. Okay. Because I don't encourage anyone to actually eat maize sadza, because maize meal, the maize we have here in Zimbabwe, is for cattle feed. It's not really. It's all pure starch, which actually doesn't have complex carbohydrates, which are needed for people that are diabetic. It has very high glycemic index, and a lot of people are becoming diabetic by eating maize meal or maize sadza.
Okay.
So we encourage tapioca or cassava mixed with buckwheat, and produces. So this is more of our.
On this one, why is it you are drying it in a shed?
Yeah, because when some of the chemical compounds that are there, as you know, I'm an analytical chemist myself. So we research some of the chemical compounds that are in cassava are actually broken down by ultraviolet light. So we don't need to dry them in the sun.
Okay.
To preserve certain organic compounds that are in there. Just together with this herbal, this buckwheat shoots, we also dry them in the shade. Okay, and then when it's dry, we then chip it, and then produce a special mix it with other organic compounds to produce a highly dense amount of phytochemical compounds that are needed to fight non-communicable diseases. Because non-communicable diseases like BP, diabetes mellitus, cancers, stroke, and so on. They are caused by what we call oxidative stress.
Okay.
So oxidative stress is a discrepancy between free radicals that are generated by the body and antioxidants which neutralize free radicals. So free radicals are generated by the body if a person subsists in a diet that is high in sugars. When sugar is being processed or glucose being processed in the body, its metabolic pathways involves producing byproducts which we call free radicals or reactive oxygen species. And those are the ones that damage body organs to then cause diabetes mellitus, cancers, and so forth. So a person in their diet, they need to have antioxidants. Free radicals, they destroy body organs by oxidation. Antioxidants, which are found in the diet, or particularly plant-based diet, because phytochemical compounds are only found in plants, because the word phyto means plant. They're plant-based. So these are some of the products that are high in phytochemical compounds that fight diabetes mellitus and other non-communicable diseases. Yeah. So they need special processing. And also when we uproot these things, we uproot them at a specific time when the contents of D-chiroinositol, the contents of rutin is highest. Yeah. Then we chip that into a tea.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not just uprooting at any stage. There's a specific stage where we uproot it when it has the highest content of antioxidants.
Okay.
And those phytochemical compounds. And then we dry them, and then we chip them and bag them. Very soon we're having our machine this week where we are producing tea bags.
Okay.
But at the moment we're just using them as non-encapsulated tea, where you just boil it and drink that tea.
Okay. That's wonderful.
Yes. So yeah, agriculture, combined with the research is what we need. Not just planting things, but know what you're planting, what are the health benefits or the material benefits in the particular crop that you are planting. This is very important. As you can see that we're doing a lot of research on buckwheat, cassava, and avocado. Yeah. So the research actually involves how best to extract organic molecules that are needed for human health. Okay. Yeah. And the number of products that we're producing. So you can see here that we are not producing food for sale at Mugari Musika. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Our agriculture is research based. What is it that we are producing? At what stage do we have the highest content of phytochemical compounds? Then how do we uproot, and how do we process, and then how do we produce those teas that are needed? So research-based the agriculture is very, very important.
Okay.
Now I can show you we just have like one bull that is under penfetamine.
Okay.
Which when we saw those animals, we're using them to sustain this free primary and secondary school.
Okay.
Yes.